Lord, I follow you today. These words may seem simple, but oh, the power they carry. When we speak them from our hearts, when we surrender ourselves fully to the one who made us, our lives begin a journey of transformation. This morning, as the sun rises and casts its golden light upon the earth, we are reminded of something profound. Each day is a gift from God, each breath a chance to draw closer to Him, each heartbeat a reminder that He is faithful. And so, with humility and hope, we speak these words, Lord, I follow you today. There is something deeply moving about following the Lord, not in the easy moments, but in the uncertain, the challenging, the days when life feels heavy upon our shoulders. To follow Him is to trust that even when we cannot see the road ahead, even when the storms of life rage around us, He is guiding our steps. How often we forget that guidance is not always a grand sign or a dramatic intervention. Often it is quiet, gentle, like the whisper of the wind through the trees or the stillness in our hearts. And it is there in that silence that God meets us and speaks the words our souls long to hear. I want you to think for a moment about your own life. The decisions you face today, the people you will encounter, the challenges that press upon your heart. In every situation, there is a call to surrender, a call to trust, a call to follow. And the question is not whether life will bring difficulties, it will. The question is whether we will allow God to lead us through them, whether we will say with conviction, Lord, I follow you today. Guidance is one of the greatest gifts God offers us. It is not something we can force or manufacture. It is a gift that comes from a relationship, from intimacy with Him. When we begin our day seeking His wisdom, asking Him to illuminate the path before us, we are opening ourselves to the possibilities He has prepared. And grace, oh, the grace of God, is the power that allows us to walk that path even when our strength falters. Grace enables the weak to stand, the fearful to move forward, and the broken to rise again. Grace is not earned. It is freely given to all who seek the Lord with a sincere heart. Now, following the Lord is not always simple. There will be times when the world tempts us to look elsewhere for guidance, promises of power, comfort, or security that seem brighter than the call of God. But we must remember, the voice of the Lord is steadfast and true. It never leads to destruction. It never abandons. And when we choose to follow Him, even when the road seems uncertain, we are choosing life. We are choosing hope. We are choosing a future filled with divine purpose. I want to speak to those of you who may feel burdened this morning. Perhaps your heart is heavy with worry. Perhaps you are facing trials that seem too great to endure. Hear me when I say, God has not forgotten you. He knows every tear that falls, every sleepless night, every prayer whispered in the quiet of your soul. And He calls you now to trust Him, to release your fears, to take His hand and follow Him. Because when you follow the Lord, you are never walking alone. His presence surrounds you. His Spirit guides you. His grace sustains you. To follow God today is an act of courage. It is a declaration that we will not be defined by our failures, our past mistakes, or the uncertainties of life. It is a choice to align our hearts with His purposes, to allow Him to shape us into vessels of His love, mercy, and truth. And friends, there is no greater joy than knowing that our lives are being woven into a story far greater than ourselves, a story of redemption, hope, and everlasting love. Every morning is an opportunity to renew our commitment. The moment we wake, we can decide, will we allow the cares of the world to dictate our steps, or will we surrender our plans, our ambitions, our anxieties to the one who knows all things? The choice is ours. And when we say, Lord, I follow you today, we are choosing to live a life of faith, a life that reaches out to touch others with kindness, compassion, and courage. We are choosing to trust in a God whose promises never fail. And let me remind you, following the Lord is not passive. It requires action, intentionality, and discipline. It requires seeking His word, listening for His voice, and obeying even when obedience feels difficult. It requires love, the kind of love that extends beyond ourselves, the kind that sacrifices without counting the cost, the kind that reflects the heart of Jesus to a world in need. When we commit to follow Him today, we are committing to walk in His footsteps, to mirror His character, and to shine His light wherever we go. Consider the people you will encounter today. There is someone who needs encouragement, someone who needs forgiveness, someone who is longing for hope. By following the Lord, we become instruments of His grace in their lives. We become the hands that lift the fallen, the voice that speaks truth, the presence that reflects God's unending love. And as we do so, our own hearts are transformed. We begin to see the world not as a place of fear and struggle, but as a field ripe with opportunities for compassion, service, and joy. I urge you to take a moment now, right where you are, and make this commitment in your heart. Say it silently or aloud. Lord, I follow you today. I surrender my plans to your wisdom. I invite your presence to guide me. I receive your grace to strengthen me. I trust your love to carry me. These are not empty words. They are the seed of faith that, when nurtured, will grow into a life marked by peace, purpose, and power. As we continue through our day, we will face choices. Some will seem small, some will feel monumental, but every choice is an opportunity to follow Him. Every moment is a chance to live in alignment with His will. And when we make those choices with a heart surrendered to God, miracles begin to unfold. Doors open where we expected none. Strength comes when we feel weakest. Hope arises in the midst of despair. And we discover that following the Lord is not merely a religious act, it is the path to abundant life. Do not underestimate the power of prayer. Each morning, when you speak to God, asking for His guidance, you are aligning yourself with His eternal purposes. Each day, when you choose to follow Him, you are participating in a story that stretches beyond the limits of time and space. And friends, that is no small thing. That is the work of eternity beginning in the moment, here and now, with your willingness to say, Lord, I follow you today. And so, as we rise to meet the challenges and blessings of this day, let us do so with courage, faith, and unwavering trust. Let us walk in the light of His guidance, empowered by His grace, and filled with the assurance that He is with us every step of the way. Let us remember that to follow the Lord is to embrace life at its fullest, to experience love at its deepest, and to witness the power of God working through us in ways we could never imagine. Yes, today, let us follow Him, not just in words, but in our actions, not just in thought, but in deed. Let us seek His wisdom in our decisions, His presence in our interactions, and His love in our hearts. For when we do, we are not merely existing, we are truly living. And in following Him, we discover the joy, the peace, and the purpose for which we were created. Lord, I follow you today. Let this be the anthem of our hearts. Let it shape our lives, guide our steps, and fill us with a confidence that comes only from knowing we are held in your hands. Let it remind us that no matter the trials, the uncertainties, or the fears that may arise, we are never alone. And as we journey through this day, may our lives reflect the glory of the one we follow, the power of the grace we receive, and the beauty of a heart surrendered completely to Him. Friends, I want you to consider the beauty of beginning each day with this simple declaration: Lord, I follow you today. How often do we rise with our own plans, our own agendas, our own understanding of how life should unfold, only to find ourselves frustrated, confused, or weary by the end of the day? But when we surrender those plans, when we invite God to take the lead, everything changes. Suddenly, the chaos begins to make sense. The burdens we carry feel lighter. The paths that were once unclear become illuminated with His light. Following the Lord is not a passive act. It is not merely saying the words and hoping for the best. It is intentional. It is deliberate. It requires us to open our hearts, to quiet our minds, to align every thought, every intention, and every action with His will. And as we do this, a remarkable thing happens. The Spirit begins to guide us in ways that surpass our human understanding. Doors we thought were closed open unexpectedly. Opportunities we never imagined present themselves. And our hearts experience a joy that cannot be explained by circumstance, because it comes from knowing that we are walking in obedience to the one who created us. There will be times when the path seems hard, when trials press upon us from every direction, when fear whispers in our ears that we are alone. But these are precisely the moments when saying, Lord, I follow you today, becomes the most powerful prayer of all. It is in these moments of surrender that God demonstrates His strength through our weakness, His wisdom in our confusion, and His love in our despair. Think for a moment about the people in your life, family, friends, colleagues, neighbors. How much impact could your faithful following of God have on them? When we live with intention, guided by His Spirit, we become lights in dark places. A word spoken at the right moment, a gesture of kindness, an act of patience, even a silent prayer can influence hearts and change lives in ways we cannot begin to measure. God's guidance and grace do not just work in isolation, they ripple outward, touching every life we encounter. And let us not underestimate the power of consistency. Following God is not a once-in-a-while act. It is daily. It is constant. It is waking up each morning, sometimes weary and sometimes burdened, and saying, Lord, I follow you today. It is showing up for the small moments as faithfully as the large ones. It is choosing love when it is inconvenient, forgiveness when it is undeserved, and faith when the world seems hopeless. And over time, these consistent acts of faith shape a life that is unshakable, resilient, and rooted in God's truth. I want to tell you about a woman who faced tremendous loss. Her husband had passed, her children were struggling, and she felt the weight of despair pressing down on her. Every morning, despite her grief, she whispered, Lord, I follow you today. She did not know how she would continue. She did not see a clear way forward, but she chose to trust, to step forward in faith, and to invite God into every part of her day. And slowly, step by step, her life began to transform. She found strength to care for her children, clarity to make important decisions, and peace in the midst of pain. Her testimony reminds us that following the Lord is not about avoiding hardship. It is about experiencing His presence and power in the midst of it. And it is not just in moments of personal struggle that following God matters. It is in every interaction, every decision, every fleeting moment of choice. When we follow Him, we reflect His character, His mercy, His patience, His compassion. When we follow Him, we live in alignment with the eternal purposes He has set before us. And when we follow Him, we bear witness to the world that life lived in obedience to God is a life of hope, impact, and eternal significance. Let us also remember that following the Lord requires trust. Trust is the foundation of faith. Trust is believing in what we cannot yet see, knowing that God is at work behind the scenes. Trust is continuing to move forward when the answers are not obvious. And trust is choosing to let go of our control, our expectations, our need to understand every detail, and instead allowing God's wisdom and timing to direct our steps. I encourage you to take a moment in the quiet of your heart and reflect on this. Where is God calling you to trust Him more fully today? In what area of your life are you holding back, unsure if you can surrender fully? Hear the gentle invitation. Come, follow me. I will guide you. I will strengthen you. I will provide all you need. And with that, we can rise each morning with renewed courage, ready to face whatever lies ahead, confident that we are never walking alone. Even in moments when we feel weak, even in days when our burdens seem too heavy, following the Lord empowers us. It equips us to rise above fear, to act with integrity, to love unconditionally, and to serve faithfully. It transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary opportunities for God's power to be revealed. It changes our perspective so that we see every challenge as a chance to grow, every setback as a step toward purpose, and every encounter as an opportunity to reflect His light. Consider the children in your life, the young ones looking to us for guidance, hope, and example. When we follow God, we show them what faith looks like in practice. When we choose grace, patience, and love, they learn the value of these virtues not in theory, but through lived experience. And in doing so, we plant seeds that will bear fruit for generations to come. And friends, the beauty of following the Lord is that it does not require perfection. It does not demand that we have it all together. It only asks that we are willing to turn to Him each morning, willing to say, Lord, I follow you today, and willing to take the next step even when the path is unclear. And as we take that step, His grace meets us, His guidance illuminates the way, and His love strengthens our hearts. Let us also remember that following the Lord is contagious. When we walk in faith, others notice. When we act with integrity, others are inspired. When we love unconditionally, others are touched. Our lives become living testimonies of God's goodness, and through our obedience, the world witnesses the power of a life surrendered to Him. The path may not always be easy. There will be trials, uncertainties, and moments of doubt. But in every moment, the promise remains. God's presence will not leave us, His grace will not fail us, and His guidance is steadfast and true. And as we continue to say, Lord, I follow you today, we participate in a journey far greater than ourselves, a journey of transformation, purpose, and eternal hope. Lord, I follow you today. Let this be the anthem of our hearts. Let it shape our lives, guide our steps, and fill us with a confidence that comes only from knowing we are held in your hands. Let it remind us that no matter the trials, the uncertainties, or the fears that may arise, we are never alone. And as we journey through this day, may our lives reflect the glory of the one we follow, the power of the grace we receive, and the beauty of a heart surrendered completely to Him. And now, my friends, as we draw our hearts together in this moment, I want you to hear this clearly. Following the Lord is the greatest decision you will ever make. It is not a one-time act. It is a daily commitment, a life surrendered, a heart open to His guidance, and a soul strengthened by His grace. When you choose to follow Him, you are choosing a life of purpose, a life of hope, a life that reflects His love to a world in desperate need of light. Today, you have the opportunity to begin anew. Today, you can leave behind fear, doubt, and hesitation and say with all your heart, Lord, I follow you today. It does not matter where you have been, what mistakes you have made, or how uncertain the future may seem. What matters is this: your willingness to trust, your readiness to obey, your courage to take the next step in faith. Imagine the power of a life fully surrendered. Imagine the peace that comes when God's guidance directs your steps. Imagine the joy that fills your heart when His grace strengthens you in weakness. This is not a distant dream. This is the reality God offers to every person willing to follow Him. And so I urge you, do not delay. Do not wait for a perfect moment, for the perfect circumstance, for the perfect understanding. There is only today. There is only this moment. And in this moment, you can make the choice that will change everything: to follow the Lord, to trust His guidance, and to walk boldly in the power of His grace. Say it with me one more time in your heart, with all the conviction you can muster. Lord, I follow you today. Let it be the anthem of your life, the compass of your decisions, the strength in your trials, and the joy in your victories. And as you walk in that commitment, may you experience the fullness of His love, the depth of His grace, and the abundance of His blessings in ways you have never imagined. Follow Him today, follow Him tomorrow, follow Him in every moment, and watch as your life and the lives of those around you are transformed by the one who is faithful, the one who is true, and the one who loves you beyond measure. Lord, I follow you today. Let this be the anthem of our hearts. Let it shape our lives, guide our steps, and fill us with a confidence that comes only from knowing we are held in your hands. Let it remind us that no matter the trials, the uncertainties, or the fears that may arise, we are never alone. And as we journey through this day, may our lives reflect the glory of the one we follow, the power of the grace we receive, and the beauty of a heart surrendered completely to Him.